God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, omnibenevolent. In other words, God is all powerful, all present, all knowing, all good. Whenever I hear atheists wannabes asking, can you prove there is no magic penguin?
Hey, I think he's talking about you, Eric, you cute, blood-covered, god-eating magic penguin, you. You're so adorable.
Can you prove there is no spaghetti monster? Can you prove there is no Allah? Can you prove there is no Thor? Etc., etc. These sorts of questions are not genuine at all and downright disingenuous, not even sincere, pretending they know less about God than they really do. They would troll around Christian channels with that sorts of idiotic questions. Sometimes I just wonder and I just want to facepalm.
Which I wouldn't recommend, as you are ThickShades and you would probably break yourself every time you watch one of these videos. I know how you feel, though. Every time I watch a G-Man video, I forget that I'm wearing glasses and I have to get a new pair.
But since I am ThickShades, I shall address this once and for all. God doesn't need to create any other gods.
Here, ThickShades is giving a great answer to a question that no one's ever asked. No one's ever said anything about God needing to create other gods. So, I don't know how to respond to that, other than the fact that we don't. We never have made that claim. We've never even considered that, because, well, it's a stupid argument. And for that, I actually agree with you.
Get it? In other words, there's only one God. Still don't get it?
No, not really, no.
An omnipotent being, such as God, doesn't need to create any other gods. So asking idiotic questions, such as can you prove there is no spaghetti monster, for example.
No, never mind. I thought I had it for a second. Look, let me level with you here, ThickShades. The thing is what you're doing and what Christians do, especially when you get into the upper echelon of Christian apologetics, the William Lane Craigs and whatnot, where they define God in a certain way that he has no choice to exist. That it's his very nature to exist, etc. He's the uncaused cause, the unmoved mover. You are simply giving him qualities that you have no real proof for. You are defining him in a certain way with no justification. So what we do is, by using the same logic and reasoning that Christians are employing, we can make up these creatures, like Eric the God-eating magic penguin, and give him the same characteristics that your God has, and we can be just as justifiably correct in saying so. We can say that it's in his nature to exist. We can say that, he is that the actual Bible itself was written by Eric the God-eating magic penguin, and that every time that somebody says it's really God, he's the deceiver God. There's so many ways we can use logic to show how your logic does not add up. And then you can even have, like Allah, a God that these people are using the same arguments, literally from William Lane Craig's speeches, and then turning it towards Allah. And it is a perfect example of a feasible God, because it's your same God, but he's a little, slightly a little bit different, of course, with their beliefs. But they're using that same things that you say, but to promote Allah. That is why your system fails. And this is because anybody can make up anything and give him the same characteristics and definitions that you have given to your God, and we can make him exist just like your God. So this is why we ask for objective evidence, because we can use your logic against you. Your logic does not allow your God to be mutually exclusive from any other deity that anybody can make up. You starting to see why we can do this? Like, I'm hoping I'm making this clear.
Would be like saying, I'm stupid to know about the attributes of God, but I'm gonna troll you because I'm an antichrist.
Wow. Calling us stupid, saying that we can't understand God's attributes, which we perfectly understand them, we just don't agree with them, and then calling us the Antichrist? Really? That's your best? That's the best you can throw at us? Is we're the Antichrist now? Well, I guess I can't argue with that logic.
What the atheist wannabes?
Wannabes? We're atheist wannabes? How do you be an atheist wannabe? I mean, how can you... Like, you would be more accurate, because I thought you had said a wallaby. Like, that is more accurate. Like, you could, or just as accurate, calling me an atheist wallaby as an atheist wannabe. How the fuck do I be either of those? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. How am I an atheist wannabe? How... Is that a desirable trait nowadays? If I remember in America, we're less trust than rapists. You think people just want to be an atheist? Like, oh, well, you know what? Being a Christian has been fantastic and all, but you know what? The grass looks so much browner on the other side. Why don't I give that a shot?
Really should be asking for themselves is, do I know what's true? Do I know what is true God?
For the first part of that statement, I completely agree. People should be asking themselves, what is truth? And I believe we have been as a species. Trying to understand the universe better, trying to understand the world better, trying to understand ourselves better. That's a fantastic question to ask. When you ask yourself, what is the true God? Then you make it impossible to get complete truth. Truth is when you have nothing else left to learn. When you stick with the idea that there is a God, you completely ignore the possibility that there isn't a God. And when you do, you set yourselves up with a bias to only seeing the universe through the eyes of the possibility that there is a God and not one without one. So you can never learn full truth unless you're willing to admit this possibility there is no God.
If there are a whole bunch of drinks, do I know what's water? Do I know what is the true living water? Can I know? If so, how can I know? What can I do to know what's true, etc., etc.? That would be an honest question to ask.
This is not an honest question. Asking what is the true living water? That's a Christian term to apply to, the living waters that is God or whatever. But again, to take all that part out and to actually get back to how do you discover what is the truth, if I just play with this metaphor and just say, how do I discover what is the truth? Well, what you do to figure out what is the truth is you use the methods that you have used so far in your life that have helped you prove which things are true or which things are not true. It's the thing that you use on a daily basis. If that's not a decent tool to use to figuring out what truth is, I don't know what else really is.
If you were to ask me, I believe in one omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, omnibenevolent being who was powerful enough to come as a mere human, to die for all mankind.
So you believe in an omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, omnipresent, perfect being that was able to create imperfect beings and gives them just enough free will to get punished for exercising that free will when it didn't match up with his divine plan. And instead of simply forgiving us for committing finite crimes against an infinite being, he decides to punish us by sending us to hell if we don't accept his offer of salvation, which is basically God saying, let me save you from what I'm going to do to you if you don't let me save you. I also want to finally cover this whole thing of where you keep calling us trolls or whiny backbiters, whatever that is. Just because we're able to use logic against you, it does not make us trolls. Just because we're able to show you where you are wrong in certain instances, whether it be scientifically, logically, or with reason, or anything like that, we are not trolls. Just because we disagree with you, it does not mean we are trolls. So if someone like myself brings up Eric the God-eating magic penguin, and that I define him into existence by saying that it's in his very nature to exist, and it's in his very nature to eat gods, and I define that he's omnipotent, you don't look at a person and say that they are a troll for it. You look at that and say, oh, that means anybody could make up an entity or being such as Christians have, and maybe I should come up with real evidence or something just for people to justifiably believe in said God. But they are not trolling. And that's something you need to learn.
Magic penguin.
Hey, I think he's talking about you, Eric, you cute, blood-covered, God-eating magic penguin, you're so adorable.
Can you prove there's no spaghetti monster? Can you prove there's no Allah? Can you prove there's no Thor, etc., etc.? These sorts of questions are not genuine at all. And God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, omnibenevolent. In other words, God is all-powerful, all-present, all-knowing, all-good. You know, whenever I hear atheists wannabes asking, can you prove there is no right, disingenuous, not even sincere, pretending they know less about God than they really do. They would troll around Christian channels with that sorts of idiotic questions. Sometimes I just wonder, and I just want to facepalm.
Which I wouldn't recommend. ThickShades is giving a great answer to a question that no one's ever asked. No one's ever said anything about God needing to create other gods. So, I don't know how to respond to that, other than the fact that we don't. We never have made that claim. And as you are ThickShades, and you would probably break yourself every time you watch one of these videos. I know how you feel, though. Every time I watch a G-Man video, I forget that I'm wearing glasses and I have to get a new pair.
But since I am ThickShades, I shall address this once and for all. God doesn't need to create any other gods.
Here,